Hi, everyone. It's cash flow time.
Woohoo.
And you know what that means. But if you don't, you'll find out right after this. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on the Real Estate Investor Show. It is hard money for real estate investors. We are Carolina Capital Management, and we are lenders in the Southeast for real estate investors. If you're interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com and click on the Apply Now tab. If you're a passive investor, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell, and sign up for Wednesdays with Wendy.
Mm-hmm. I feel like I should be doing the rock out.
Wendy
Banging
donates,
my head.
You're right. Wendy donates Wednesday mornings, typically.
First half of the day.
For anyone who wants to talk real estate with her. So sign up, get on her Calendly link. She's usually booked a couple of months in advance. So I'm handing it over to you. I know I talk all the time, but I'm a little under the weather. So
poor Bill.
You can have it.
Yeah, poor Bill and I both have been going through the sniffles for the past few weeks.
I'm a man. I've been sick.
I know. Poor Bill. Well, you know how big babies.
Men are babies.
That's the truth.
Women can get over it. Men are always sick. We're on
He's
our
milking
deathbeds.
it. He's milking it. And I'm about to cough when I talk, so it's only because you have to, and it's rubbing off on me. Oh, it's phantom. Phantom. It's like labor pains, for the other person, but not quite that
Sympathy.
bad. Yeah, sympathy pains. That's what they're called. Very good that you remembered that. So, folks, we're so thrilled today to have our good friends on with us. What's really, really cool about cash flow week, as you put it, it's cash flow time. I love what and their names are Fred and Tracy Rewey. We are so excited to have them here. What's so cool about them is they started this before COVID.
Right.
They made it cool long before COVID forced everybody online. And I remember when Tracy and Fred first sent us an email to be on their online Cash Flow Expo. And I was thinking, online, how are they going to get people to do that all online? It turned out to be the best event I think we've ever done.
Yeah. And
still holds true to being the best event we've ever done because the information is just so incredible. So I'm going to let their faces show now.
Welcome, by the way.
Yeah, welcome, Tracy and Fred. Thank you so much for being on the show with us today and just telling us what's going on with that. I love what you guys are doing, and it's just exploding. So
pause for a moment.
Oh yeah, Tracy and Fred Rewey.
Wow, that's quite the crowd.
We've never quite had that introduction.
That's quite the reception.
But you know what? That's not as big as the crowd you have on Cash Flow.
Not to mention they're all my age.
Well, we actually have the presentations are in color now, so it's kind of a big deal. We go around.
You probably don't even.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us.
You probably don't even remember black and white on television, do you?
I do, unfortunately.
Do you really?
I don't.
I do.
I think we both remember when the peacock first came out and actually had color in his little feathers on, what was that, NBC or ABC?
NBC.
NBC.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for having us here. I got to tell you, when you said it was one of the best events you've ever participated in, that made our hearts just feel good and warm because we really had a vision with this. And I have to say, Fred came up with the idea. So I'm going to let him start there, and then we'll talk about where we brought it and the exciting lineup of speakers we have.
That sounds great.
Yeah, so it like you said, it was funny you said it because it was like before it was cool to be online as far as that was concerned. But one of the things I'm really proud about, I mean, this lineup would never exist in one location and event. We've all been to events, and I actually really believe that nothing replaces a live event as far as the dynamics of networking and meeting people and hanging out in the bar afterwards and just having fun. So the idea came about 5 years ago, which was, could we do when the technology was finally there to actually have an event online? So how could I do an event online, bring over all the good, as much of the good as I could? Like I said, you couldn't do the personal one-on-one, but everything else. But the advantage is that, and this is the way I looked at it. I've held events. I mean, I used to do that back in the day, and I have 2,500. I think I had 3,500 people one year in an event. I know the cost. I know what it takes to get a hotel room and guarantee a room block and pay $5 for a bottle of water sitting in the back of the room,
and $8 for a cookie.
And $8 for a cookie. Yeah. So I mean, I've been there. So, and there's a trade-off to that in a lot of these events that people go to, like either cost you a lot to go, so you're spending $800, $900 a ticket to go, and then you don't have to deal with this other stuff, or if it's free or very low, and by very low I mean a couple $100, $200 to $300. Which usually does not even cover the cost of the food by any means, and that they might have out there, or snacks. But the idea is that if I could remove those costs, there's an element that I didn't like about those ones in live, and that's typically, depending on some of them, it's a pitch fest. You've got somebody on stage that is trying to get you to literally open up your wallet and spend $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, whatever it may be. And they have to pay for it. I mean, they got to pay for that event somehow. So the idea is that, if I could remove those costs, and by the way, I don't have a problem, just as a sidebar, I don't have a problem if someone tries to sell me something. If I watch a presentation for an hour and a half and I get an hour of really valuable information, and in exchange, I'm going to listen to them 20 minutes, try to sell me whatever, I'm okay with that, because I'm a big boy. I can make that decision. But some of them aren't like that. Some of them are just nonstop sales. So I wanted, the first goal is that, hey, we could get a lot of people that we can't get on a plane. So that was the big thing, as far as speakers are concerned, they'd be able to do a recording. And then the second thing is that our rule is that we wanted to create an event where they weren't selling. I'm totally cool with people giving away stuff as speakers and valuable information and promoting you. And I think they should, but I didn't want that slide up there at the end that says, hey, and for $10,000, you get to talk to me. So that was a big thing to avoid there. So it was satisfying. What I guess I didn't see, or I'd hoped, was how much it benefited both sides. The people that could attend, because everybody can go to the expo for free. There's 30 speakers this year on a variety of sessions. You can watch any number of them over the 3 days for absolutely zero cost. Matter of fact, we keep every session online for about 48 hours, so you have a chance to catch the ones you want. And then if you want lifetime access to them, they can upgrade to VIP, which is totally optional. But then they get a lifetime set of the recording, so they can watch them and check in and contact the speakers whenever they want. So that's probably a bigger answer to the question, but that's kind of the idea behind it, was to bring something of value. This is kind of a give back for a lot of these speakers, because, especially like you guys in the beginning, it was kind of a leap of faith, because you're just like, well, I'm going to participate. I hope this is well done.
Yeah, and I would like go ahead. Yeah, I would like to go back even a little further. I mean, Fred and I love cash flow because it's cash flow week, right? Isn't that what Bill? So we all love cash flow. And how do we, as just individual investors, create cash flow? And that's the whole idea of Cash Flow Expo. That's where you go if you're interested in looking it up. It's cashflowexpo.com. So how do you create cash flow? And there's so many different ways. And so we decided, after we'd been our way we love buying seller finance notes at a discount. That's why we're noteinvestor.com. That's what we've been doing for 30 years. And what we find is people don't know about some of these tried and true methods. And so we brought all these speakers together that help generate cash flow. So not just noteinvesting.com or Note Investor, but wonderful. I pulled it up on the screen. I love it. Thank you. So that's cashflowexpo.com. And so we created that. This is our 4th annual event. So like Fred mentioned, 5 years ago, he had the idea. And we started the first one 4 years ago, and this is our 4th annual one. It's going to be February 3rd through 5th of 2022. And all you have to do is just register, and then you will get a link to watch those speakers live. So it's kind of like the TV shows. They do record them because trying to get 30 speakers all to show up on time and stay on time is that was one of the challenges. So we air them live at their session time. We're getting ready to come out with the session lineup. But so I wanted to talk about some, and there's a picture of the registration. So here's some of the speakers. Bill and Wendy, you guys are going to speak, and you're going to tell us what you're going to talk about. We always love having you guys speak.
We never know.
Yeah, that's not true.
So
we'll let you know tomorrow.
I have it on the sheet of paper here, what you're going to speak about. Do you want to know what you're speaking
we'll
about?
Tell you what you're talking about.
Actually, we thought it would be a really good idea, since things have changed going forward. There's a lot of changes in the economy right now, and we want to focus on investments that are a good hedge against inflation, and at the same time are cash flowing assets. So we're going to talk about funds that are a good hedge and that cash flow, and single family assets. Should they be leveraged? Should they be cash? But we're all talking about cash flow. And how do we obtain financial freedom?
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. You want to take your active income and turn it into some sort of passive income. And you can do it obviously with notes. You can do it with owning property. And we're going to cover all that.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
Is that clear as mud?
Yeah, it is.
Look, one of the things behind it was the, different ways we make money. And so what was idea in this event was, and obviously Tracy said, we predominantly stick to notes, but I've stock traded for over 20 years and still do. We have crypto. We have, I don't know. I mean, the only thing we don't have is the NFTs, the electronic artwork. But I mean, so you're constantly looking for ways to not only diversify your portfolio, but also just ways that you can make money. So the lineup we have is representative of that. So, if you're real estate, great. If you're lending, great. If we have somebody on crypto, we have somebody on business notes, we have somebody on, all sorts of things, stocks and options.
Being a lender.
Yeah.
A hard money
That's
lender,
right.
a private lender. I know that's right up your guys' alley as well. So yeah, do you want us to talk about some of the sessions? Because they're pretty cool.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, well, we have John Fedros back again this year. He always talks about mobile home investing because that's what he does. He buys mobile homes in parks and resells them with seller financing. He's actually got into buying some mobile home parks himself. So he's going to talk about what's working and what's not working in mobile home investing in 2022. And then we've got Byron Ruda. His company's been buying business only notes, no real estate. Isn't that crazy? And since the 90s. Now their company's been in business since the 40s. They're a 3-generation family. So it's always fun to have them on there. And then we've got a couple of attorneys that are speaking. Now, where can you go and get real world information from attorneys? We've got at least 4 of them speaking, all for an hour for no cost. It's amazing. So we've got our good friend, Jeff Watson. He's going to be talking about good partnerships. We have a tax attorney, John Heyer, always a favorite for tax strategies.
He definitely is.
Yeah, we've got our good friend, Mary Hart. She's she's a retired attorney that is also a private lender and note investor, and she's going to be talking about private lending as well. And we have 2 attorneys, Tony Sotilli and Franco Barilli, that are attorneys for a lot of investors that either lend money or buy notes. So they're going to talk about what happens if your borrower files bankruptcy or doesn't pay and you have to file foreclosure. So they're going to talk about all of those things. So we have some really great real world information. You want to talk about some more of the speakers?
Yeah, I'm just kind of intrigued with someone's like pointing out the pictures as we go along here. I mean, that's
like magic, isn't it?
Actually, I think everybody Tracy mentioned is predominantly is day 1, which is crazy.
Yeah, that's just day 1.
That's just day 1. So I think John's on day 2, but again, it's look, if you can't find something in your lineup that speaks to you, either, and I always say, look, I mean, especially if you're starting at square one, find something you enjoy. So find something you like, find something that you think, wow, this sounds really interesting. I'd like to learn more. And so that's the very first thing. If you're not already heavily invested in different areas, that's the first way to approach this, to go, well, I'm going to list these sessions. What person or persons talk to me that, like, wow, I kind of like their angle, or I like their thought process. And that seems like something I would do. That's the first person to go. And that's why this is so diverse. Tracy's on the second day. And again, to get this lineup in one location would never happen live. It just wouldn't. There's no way we could all be on a plane and be in the same place, even if money wasn't even an issue on there. Anne Marie Rogers is speaking on building wealth with self-directed IRAs. With Quest. If you're not in tune with self-directed IRAs, and it applies to a lot of these different cash flows, you definitely want to be. That would be one of the first ones I'd make sure I would watch. We've got Ben Frazier on generating passive income through real estate notes. I think he's doing basically an intro type one on that, which is really good.
I think he's talking too about how to do the funds, because they do a fund.
Oh, okay, good.
How to invest in a fund. Yeah.
And then Carrie Lucas and Neil, who I knew, I don't know, 20 years ago, 18 years ago, they're heavy into factoring. And we used to actually do a little bit of that. I love factoring, and when you actually see the math behind the factoring and how it's the perception of it and how much money you make turning the same money over and over again, it's really, really valuable. And then there's some other people. Chris Savini obviously is doing about how to build a business
with mortgage
notes and things like that. And Bob Repass, he's going to be probably a little bit more advanced on non-performing loans, the due diligence, kind of how to dig into some of those. So day two seems a little bit more technical in a lot of ways, but great lineup. I mean, these are people that you'd have to pay a lot of money just to talk to you.
Yeah. And then day three, we've got Eddie's going to talk. Eddie Speed, always a favorite. He talks about the coming wave of non-performing notes. We've got Brett Berkey. They have a listing platform for notes. We have Bob Zachmeyer. We've got another self-directed IRA company, Nate Hare with New View. And then if you're interested in buying and selling real estate using creative financing, buying subject to wraps, that sort of thing, we have a creative deal maker team called Eric Sage and Nick Legamaro, and they've created over 700 notes in the current environment, this really competitive real estate environment we have, using seller financing. So they'll buy and then they'll sell off the first and keep the second. So they have a nice cash flow. So, I mean, we just have a little bit of, we talked about, somebody's going to be talking about the life insurance, whole life insurance, how to create those and invest that. Which speaker is that, Fred? Yeah, that was the one you introduced us to this year.
Oh, that's not Chris Odegaard.
Is that Rod? Yeah, I think that's Rod. Rod Zabriskie. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm confused now.
Yeah, Chris Odegaard.
Somebody introduced me to somebody else, and then we try to go out and vet them.
All these
we try to make sure that we're getting quality people, and everybody knows that the kind of the rules as we go into it. But it's a substantial lineup.
Yeah.
Like I said, and you said earlier, this is the fourth year. When I got done with the first year, I was like, man, I'm not doing this again, because it's hurting cats. I mean, it's literally. It's just to get everything together and then make it flow online. But it works.
Yeah.
It works. And, when you get enough feedback from people on both sides, it was important that I knew people attending were going to get value. Like I said earlier, what I liked was that the people on the other side, the people are presenting, were getting value out of it because they were getting business and getting business from the right people, which was great.
I look at this lineup and the speakers, the quality of speakers, and also the topics. And this, in my opinion, would be more valuable than sending your kid to college for 4 years.
I agree with you 100%. And here's what I've preached this for years, and I will preach it till the day I die. The more you understand notes and how they work, no deal can come across your desk that you can't figure out a way to be an architect and make it work. And so if you take the note concept and turn it into property, anything in real estate can work for you. There's always a way that you can make it work. And I love that what you're really focused. You have a lot of good note people in here that are speaking and teaching. And I mean, you mentioned Bob Repass. My gosh, 10 minutes in front of that guy and your head's going to explode. He's the knowledge. It's just unbelievable. All of them that you have on there is just absolutely amazing. And then you also talked about the attorneys. People automatically think that sitting in front of an attorney is going to be boring or that you won't understand it because they use all these really big words.
Yeah.
But the people that you have that are sitting in front of us on this lineup are mind-blowing educators.
Mhm.
I mean, give me 10 minutes with John Heyer and my stomach will be hurting from laughing so much. It's amazing the depth that all of your speakers go into and the willingness of them to share what they know. And here's what's cool about who you've pulled together. These are all people who, when they answer your phone call, they'll share with you everything you ask for.
Mhm.
And,
I think that's 2
and
points.
for nothing.
Yeah, I think
they're not there to make a living talking to you.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, it's trying to find people that have an abundance mentality, that just realize that, look, the more we share with each other, there's plenty of deals to go around. And I do want to point out what you said earlier, because I have said this often. You talked about the foundation of understanding notes. And I'll take it one step in addition to that. When I would teach the financial calculator to somebody, and then we talk about, learning time value of money, learning about loans and just the math of it, if you will, which, by the way, I've always said that I hate math, but I love money, which is the only reason why I was able to learn a financial calculator, because it all made sense to me that way. But I remember saying at one point years ago, this is longer ago than I want to admit to, telling somebody basically, they asked, well, what do I got to learn to do different on this cash flow or that cash flow? And I'm like, you know what? The calculator doesn't know. The calculator has no idea that if it's a car loan, a real estate loan, a buying a note. In fact, it has no idea what the actual item is. Like you said about notes crossing your desk, it doesn't know. So once you understand that foundation, then you see everything completely differently.
I would like to make, I'm sorry, Tracy, you want to go?
No, go ahead. No, good.
I wanted to go back to the attorneys, number one. I wanted to make a point about the 4 attorneys that are on here. These people are attorneys that create wealth. They're not people that take wealth from someone else and then give it to another person.
Thank you for making that distinction. Yes.
And then lastly, this is for investors of all education background. If you're an advanced investor and if you're a beginner,
that's right.
And this is why it's important to buy the recordings, because if you're a beginning investor, as you go through this in advance, you can now go back to the recordings with the more advanced stuff, and then you're able to understand it a little bit better.
Right.
So you can progress through it. So it makes it a lot easier for you to go back and understand the more advanced stuff.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, we wrestled with, what's the value of it, and we just said, look, this is a large give back scenario. All the way up until the event starts, the recordings are under $100. As we are right now, there's still an early bird special that's going too long. But I really thought about it that way, and there are people that obviously buy every single year. I mean, think of a portfolio to go back to, going, maybe it's not 6 months from now or next year that you go, hey, I see this deal, to go back and pull up like one of these attorneys, ones like you're talking about, and see their session on that. That's pretty cool. I never really thought about that.
That's a really good point. I mean, I'm just sitting here thinking of people we didn't mention. I mean, like Chris Odegaard talks about buying ATM machines and how you get the write-off on those and you make crazy good income. You get I won't give it away, but it's very, very interesting. These are people doing what they teach. Jim Ingersoll, he's a single family home investor. He has the traditional real estate rental model, but he does seller financing as well. I mean, I really think that there's something here, as you mentioned, for everybody, whether you're just getting started or if you're very advanced and you want to take it to the next level. And you can attend, like we mentioned, free for the 48 hours, and then you can get the recordings. And so it's really an MBA in cash flow. That's how I look at it. How can
that's a great description.
Yeah, an MBA in cash. We might use that. Just
Well, I'm definitely using the creating wealth attorneys line. I
liked
wrote that
that
down.
too.
So
That's good.
So here's what else you mentioned that I think is really important to understand is that the people on here really do operate from abundance. And you, Tracy, are starting to do Tuesdays with Tracy.
well, you are now because it's out there.
Tuesdays got lonely because Wendy had Wednesdays and Mary had Mondays, so Tracy needed a Tuesday, right?
That's right.
And
That's right.
I'm going to do Saturdays with Fred, and like, oh, I'm not very good at this.
You can do Fridays with Fred.
Yeah, I know. That was the part of the joke. You know? I'm not doing it. It's not happening.
It just took me a minute. I'm a little older.
All right, Fridays are golf days for Fred.
But
yeah, it could be.
But if you look at what everybody on that lineup is doing to give back in other ways, it's just it's amazing. And the thing that I think is real important too is being able to establish your network and communicating with other people that will be on cash flow. Do you have a way that people will be able to eventually talk to each other? How does that work?
Attendees. You know, we're playing with that. We had hoped to have it by this year, but then we weren't really sure of the logistics of that because there has to be an opt-in scenario where they want their information changed or shared.
Like an app.
But we're looking at like an app or a platform that allows people to, either show themselves or not show themselves. And that would probably be a next year type thing.
The speakers are available to be contacted, though. They all give their contact information. I agree, Wendy. We were talking about how do you bring that element to it, and that's a great suggestion. Maybe that's year 5.
Yeah.
Well, I want to do it in a way that protects everybody from, we've all been in an event and all of a sudden we get spammed by these people and stuff. I want to be able to keep it pretty locked down as much as possible to preserve the integrity of what it is. It's an event that anybody can go to and watch the sessions free and get valuable information. And then if they want to go forward, they can contact the speakers and things like that.
And if you think about this, I mean, we have usually 2,500 registrants. Some watch live, some buy the recording, some catch some sessions. So that we have over 30 speakers, 3 days. And this year we brought in, this is the first time we've done this, and we have some sponsors, some organizations that have supported us through this Cash Flow Expo. And we want to thank you guys because Carolina Capital Management is also one of our sponsors of the event this year. So thanks. We couldn't do it without the sponsors.
Well,
who the heck agreed to that?
He's funny.
One of the things that, when we look at the schedule, and I know I keep saying it's a large number of people, but I realize, thinking back to a live event day. So I look at day 1, which starts at 9 and it ends probably around 7. There's an after hours session and things like that. So I've never been to an event that everything runs on time for the most part. Like, the speaker at 10 o'clock comes on at 10 o'clock. And usually what happens by the afternoon, it completely unravels.
It's like the doctor's office.
Lunch is an hour later than it's supposed to be and stuff like that. I mean, you would never be able to, I've never been to an event that there were 10 speakers, forget about breakout sessions, 10 speakers in one day. Mm-hmm. And that's 3 days of that.
Yeah.
With no repetition. There's no duplicate sessions at all.
Right.
We're duplicate speakers.
Honestly, we looked at this lineup. We were proud the first year and the second year, third year, and we're like proud parents. We look at this lineup of speakers and the quality of people that agreed to speak and share their time. And we were proud. I mean, it's like, wow, this has really turned into an amazing event. Maybe we're gonna have to go to 4 days. I don't know. And we have so many great speakers that want to
No.
And I really do believe that everybody here, they're not trying to sell you something. They're not trying to take from you. They're trying to help you, as Bill mentioned, build your wealth. And so it is an abundance mentality. And so we hope everybody will join us at Cash annual year and head on over there and grab your free ticket. Yeah,
and Wendy and Bill are presenting on day 1, just so everybody knows that's watching this.
Awesome. The lineup of speakers is a reflection of you guys. The trust and respect that you are getting from people because of who you are. I know most of the people that are
Wow.
This is where I start blowing smoke.
Yeah, now I feel even more pressure. I'm like, wow.
The lineup of people that I know that are speaking, I know all of them, and I know how everyone feels about you guys. You do what you say you're going to do. You have integrity. You do what you teach. That's really, really important. And I really think that the no sales thing is key.
Yeah.
To what you're doing, because it really is about, putting the true meat and potatoes out on the table.
Yeah. Now you guys have a special link to share. Do you have that link available? I think it's up
right
on the screen
it's
now.
the bit.ly/cash flow.
Yeah.
Cash Flow Expo.
Scott was nice enough to shorten it for us, and it's over in the chat box. So thank you for mentioning it.
And of course, it's on the screen.
So, all you have to do is click it on. It's over in the chat box to the right or underneath, depending on the platform you're viewing from. And it will be saved in this recording when we're finished.
That's right. And we just want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show and talking about what you're doing. And
appreciate it.
And we're so grateful that we're a part of it. We're so thrilled
We've done every year, actually.
When you think of us. Hey, we'll keep doing it as long as you'll have us.
Oh, thank you.
And hopefully we'll have fresh material.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we love about this industry, though.
It's always changing.
It's constantly evolving, and that's why I love it. It's always keeping you focused and challenged.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something, we've had repeat speakers, but one of the things, the other criteria on there is that, hey, look, you don't get to throw in another session that you've done before, either for us or for somebody else. They need to be largely new sessions, new information that's applicable right now. The goal is that's why it's early in the year. This is something that can help you, that you can put into place for 2022. This isn't, so that we try to have that be the focus.
Exactly.
Thank you, folks.
All right. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
We do sincerely appreciate you guys putting this on and joining us to help promote it for you, because we really do believe in what you're doing, and we want to share it with as many people as possible.
Absolutely.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us on the Real Estate Investor Show. Hard money for real estate investors. We are Carolina Capital Management. We're lenders for the investors in the Southeast. If you are a borrower interested in borrowing money, good grief.
He's got this in writing too, which is really
I'm reading a teleprompter and I'm doing it wrong. That's even worse. If you're interested in borrowing money, go to carolinahardmoney.com and click on the Apply Now tab. If you're a passive investor looking for passive returns, click on the Accredited Investor tab. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. And sign up with Wednesdays with Wendy.
And Tuesdays with Tracy.
Have a wonderful day. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.